So this is like a really deep and complex and ambiguous topic to talk about in like a 5-minute video, but hey, I'll give it a shot. Hello everybody and welcome to History Abridged. It's history, just shorter. Today I want to talk about the fall of Rome, or more specifically, the fall of the Western Roman Empire. Technically the Eastern Roman Empire survived and became the Byzantine Empire, but I've already made a video about the fall of the Byzantines, so go watch that if you're interested in that. This is going to be about the Western Roman Empire. Today's topic was requested by Stefan Alti Thorvaldsen. I will never learn how to pronounce your name. So why did Rome fall? Well, when I was reading about it, I kind of realized that there's not really any one set conclusion as to why Rome fell. There's a whole bunch of theories. When I was reading, I found a thing that said there were 210 published hypotheses about why Rome fell. So that's a lot to go through. So I didn't actually go through all of it for this 5-minute video. But I also kind of believe that nothing ever happens for one reason, so probably all of these theories were contributors to Rome's fall. The reasons I'm going to talk about today are decisions made by the Roman rulers, civil unrest, and economic collapse. Let's start with the economy. In the last couple hundred years of the Roman Empire, economic inequality was kind of ridiculous. The Roman rulers and upper class lived these lavish, luxurious lifestyles where they had slaves, they had servants, they had basically every luxury this time period could afford them. But to afford those lifestyles, they had to tax the regular population heavily. But those taxes were so high that most of the population couldn't even afford to pay them. The military actually played a pretty big role in how the Roman people got so poor. For one, the Roman economy was kind of expansion, war, conquering based. Lots of their money came from selling slaves from conquered territories, plundering cities, that sort of stuff. But in the latter years of the empire, they weren't really expanding as much. And that means they were hiring fewer soldiers, and of course they weren't plundering, selling slaves, and all that stuff. So there's less money coming into Rome, and therefore it wasn't circulating as much. It was all kind of just pooling right at the top of the upper class so they could live those lavish lifestyles. It also didn't really help that they had a ridiculously large landmass that they had to pay to protect. This leads straight into civil unrest. Now obviously the economic situation also had a huge effect on the Roman population, but so did religion. Over about 100 years or so, Rome went from persecuting Christians to making Christianity the official religion of Rome to persecuting non-Christians. So a lot of people just kind of had their faiths just kind of scattered to the winds after being really important. People grew up practicing one faith only to have it illegal in their later life. In the 4th century, the Huns invaded Europe. And when they did, they kind of came in through the northeast, and they pushed a bunch of Germanic tribes out of their homes. Now these Germanic people needed somewhere to go. So a lot of them ended up settling within Rome's borders. And Rome let them, but they weren't really happy about it, and they did not treat these people very well. And in return, these people didn't treat Romans very well. And that led to lots of problems, obviously. And now let's get into decisions that were made by the Roman rulers. At this point, Rome was extremely unstable and very, very difficult to govern, especially for just one emperor. So a decision was made to split the empire in two. Now technically Rome was still all one empire, it would just have an emperor ruling in the east and an emperor ruling in the west. In the short term, this actually worked. It made administration a lot easier, splitting the duties between two people. Long term though, this did more to hurt the empire than to help it. Over time, the two halves started to develop different cultures and different perspectives and started to see each other as rivals. So if something went wrong in the west, the east wouldn't help and vice versa. And during the last couple hundred years, Rome was sacked twice by invaders. Once by the Visigoths and once by the Vandals. The west was growing weaker and weaker until a Germanic king named Odysseus deposed the emperor in the west, causing that half of the empire to crumble and fragment into a bunch of smaller kingdoms, thus beginning the Middle Ages. So there you go, there's 3 of the contributors to Rome's fall. There's a lot more, obviously, if you go reading about it, and there's a lot more complicated ones and a lot more interesting ones, but those are the 3 I felt probably had the biggest effect on Rome's fall. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, do all the YouTube things. If you want to add something to the video, put that in the comments. If you have an idea for a future video, put that in the comments as well. And as always, this is History Abridged.